Welcome back to Pokemon Platinum.
Are we in the Shadow Realm?
Hey.
See
I
that
mean,
that
I mean, I
tangent
mean,
was
I mean, kind of.
totally intentional.
Good job, trainer, but you'll never leave this realm alive! Ha ha ha!
So this is like the one area in the game where they do something genuinely kind of fun with the 3D graphics. Um,
I mean,
but
it's there.
I mean, like
There's not.
I just mean visually. Game design is a completely different thing.
You kind of just walk. I mean, if there were puzzles about like traversing a 3D space, that would be cool. But there's nothing to this area other than the fact that it's 3D.
Yeah, there's no encounters here either. So
Yeah, I know. It's just I'm just saying like too little, too late.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it. Some people really do like this section, and I mean, I guess I can kind of see it if you
well,
weren't expecting it,
it,
maybe.
it,
But
it, it's like that time that Pokemon became Final Fantasy. You know, it's kind of
yeah.
it's kind of cool. It's a visual mix-up, but that's all it is. It's visual. You're
If
going
it
from
was
place to
maybe a
place.
real dungeon where you had to actually like traverse the different sides and the different like
There, if
layers and stuff like that, but
there's no like navigation challenge here though. It's basically just a straight shot. Am I right?
yeah, it's just like, oh, you walk on the wall now, and then you're done. Is the thing, especially considering that this game came out like what 2008 or whatever. I think by this
something around there.
Yeah, I think by this point people were kind of done with the novelty of 3D graphics on DS, and most of the big games by that point were being
Yeah. Mostly
2D
because the three,
mostly
most,
anyway.
mostly because the 3D on the DS just frankly wasn't very good.
It had something to do with how the console rendered stuff, because if I
Yeah.
remember, like each screen has its own CPU or something. I don't really know, so it's not technically as powerful as it should be or something. I'm probably messing it up, but it's just not a very powerful console, sadly. So, I mean, the sprite work it can do is really really nice though, which is why many of the 2D games on the system still hold up really really well.
Yeah, game.
There are some like minor dead ends that you can wander into here that I'm noticing. That's like the only thing this area has going for it in terms of design.
Yeah, but it's only ever like one rock though is
Yeah.
the thing. It would be better, I think, because this general idea could be an interesting, albeit probably time consuming and convoluted dungeon if there were like hidden areas and items to find and trainers and stuff. Like the idea is solid. It's just they didn't want to commit to making a brand new area to explore. So they made it like this dimension world that you do and never come back to.
They
So it's just not
also
fleshed out.
they also I note copy and pasted the same platform over and over and over.
I mean, that's Pokemon. They do that for
Well,
everything.
yeah, there's a difference between using a stock set of tiles and copy and pasting the same platform over and over and over again. I mean, look at all these platforms; they're the same shape.
It's Pac-Man's square brother.
Yeah, and that just makes this like artificially difficult to navigate. I say artificially because it's not actually difficult. It just tricks your brain into thinking it's confusing by making everything look the same.
Which I guess is kind of that can be done well if used effectively. It's just I don't
This
know.
is not how you do that.
I guess what they were trying to go is this is supposed to be build up to Giratina, which can work. I just would prefer if there was like Pokemon gameplay. Oh, I guess we fight Cyrus then. That's something. Do I understand? Oh god.
Yeah, they're comfy and easy to wear.
Okay, you see, you answered that you understood the concept of genes, and now he's just explaining it to you anyway.
He likes the
Okay.
sound of his own voice.
Oh, clearly.
Um,
Okay, look,
Blah
I'm
de blah de
six
blah de
playing
blah
this
de blah.
game. I don't know what you're talking about.
uh, Cyrus, just shut up and fight, or I'm gonna push
Nope, we
you off
fight-
this
nope,
fucking
we-
rock.
I was gonna do that anyway, but we can do it after we fight.
Oh, he just walks away? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, this could have been cool build up to Giratina if there was more to do. You know, I guess. is the
Yeah,
thing.
no, it's just a long and tedious block push puzzle.
It's not even really so much of a puzzle because there's not much thought into proceeding. It's just trying everything until you win, which I suppose technically makes it a jigsaw puzzle, which aren't real puzzles and aren't interesting.
Jigsaw
either.
puzzles actually do have some rhyme and reason to how you're supposed to solve them. You start in the corners and with the edges, and then work from there.
Yeah, I guess, but after it's still a matter of just finding, like, whenever I do one, it's just okay. I separate all the edges, and then put them all. It's. I mean, granted, if you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, you're doing it not to think. You're doing it because it's relaxing and.
Yeah,
but-
it's just the images on the puzzle pieces can sometimes be easier to identify, and the more pieces that you put into the puzzle, the easier it is to identify more pieces. So the challenge gets easier as you go. So you look for the pieces that have clearly identifiable markings that look like they can connect to the pieces along the edges, and you go from there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not really a puzzle, I guess, in the way that we look at it, where it's a problem where you have to figure out the solution. It's more a process of elimination, I suppose. Yeah.
Somewhat.
So, yeah. So this isn't really much of a. Oh, what if you? Oh wait, no, you probably
You
couldn't
can't.
get to
You
this
can't.
point without strength. Okay,
Yeah.
because I think you need strength to get up here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still use HMs when Pokemon are dead. So okay.
Yeah.
So, here we are in the Dimensional Rift. Except there are no random battles, and we haven't fought Gilgamesh yet. So, getting fairly bored. What's this thing?
That's one of the
Nani's.
spirits that they were trying to capture because they needed them to release Dialga and Palkia, I think is what it was, because
Yeah.
lore.
Oh. Well, that sounds stupid.
It is.
Man, and I'm just sitting here thinking, top-down sprite-based dungeons can be really fun.
Do we have any more Yu-Gi-Oh tangents?
No, how about Beyblades?
Oh god, I don't know any Beyblade lore.
I don't
Like,
know
I
anything
never
about
watched-
Beyblade either. I knew of its existence. but
Any other hit late '90s, early 2000s kid collectible stuff?
I don't know what Bakugan even's supposed to be. Like I know it is, but I don't know what kind of game it is.
I don't remember. I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember what it attaches to. I never paid attention to much of that stuff as a kid. Pokemon was like the only thing. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. And
I did have a small Digimon phase. Like, it was pretty short. And I remember my sister shamed me into being it and said, okay, come watch Pokemon with us again. We miss you. And so I stopped. It was literally like, by a short phase, I mean less than a week.
Ouch.
So, yeah. And I mean, a lot of people say that the Digimon anime is better than the Pokemon anime. I honestly wouldn't.
My response to that is, like, that's hard.
to qualify that, I think the Digimon anime has more going on than the Pokemon anime at large, but I think the Pokemon anime's first season is particularly strong. So,
You see, I remember one thing I didn't like about Digimon was that they got rid of lots of the old, like, I didn't like how dark it was as a kid. Like, I remember, like, several characters died, and
This is-
certain...
this is some Super Mario Galaxy bullshit.
yeah, basically.
I like
Which way is up? I don't know.
I like weird gravity gimmicks that involve water, because like it's really easy to pull off some satisfying surreal imagery that way.
I mean, climbing down a waterfall is certainly an interesting visual thing, but it is still just a 30-second thing where you're not doing anything.
Yeah, It's not as fun as, say, getting an ice flower in Mario Galaxy and wall jumping up 2 waterfalls with it.
You see, I still don't get why in Galaxy 2 they did the same thing, but instead of having it be interesting as you're wall jumping up the waterfalls as they're still going, they just froze both of them and then did the same set piece where it was significantly less cool.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it was more cool because both of them were frozen, but whatever.
Oh, it's frozen today.
I haven't gone back and replayed Galaxy 2 in forever. I think I've only ever played and beaten it the one time. Now that
I've
thinking
replayed
about
Galaxy
it.
2 a couple times. It's easier to get back into because of how gamey it is, but part of me prefers the feel of Galaxy 1.
Well, it's just one of those things where there's nothing wrong with Galaxy 2. It's a perfectly good game, and set with really well designed levels. It's just that if I ever feel like playing Galaxy, I would rather play the first one. And the differences between them are very minor, but it's just like, I guess because they're so similar, I feel no need to go to 2 because I like 1 so much, if that makes sense. Whereas, even if Mario Galaxy 2 were a worse game but more different than Galaxy 1, I would play it more just because it's more
I
different.
have a question. What happens if you decide to be a contrary dick and push the boulder down the wrong hole?
It just
I-
resets.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it just falls back from the top of the screen.
Oh. Well, that's
I
disappointing.
mean, if you put it in the wrong hole, what are you supposed to do?
I don't know. I just like it when games do fun things when you do the obvious wrong thing. Like when in Final Fantasy IX you can keep saying Queen Braun at the beginning, and eventually the game gets so fed up with you that Ruby runs in from the other room and just criticizes you for being a stubborn asshole.
I love when games do that kind of thing with "but thou musts." It's really funny, when they do that. Oh God.
I just had the sudden urge to stretch my legs. I'm gonna ask you that again.
All right, it's almost over. Thank Christ.
Yup.
Cyrus, how did you get down here?
He jumped off the edge and fell.
He fell upwards?
If you hate our world, you should just go off somewhere alone, which is the most kid-friendly way of saying, if you hate our world, just kill yourself and don't drag the rest of us down with you, thanks.
Okay. Cynthia, wanna help?
No.
Cynthia, wanna do something? Cynthia, wanna be worthwhile? Cynthia, no. Cynthia,
Come on.
Like,
Our rival teamed up with us. Why he... Come on.
I mean, usually in these sorts of situations, they write off some sort of thing that keeps the other characters busy. But here, she's literally just standing there. And it's part of why I don't like Cynthia that much, because she stands and talks, but doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
She's a super passive player.
It's not as effective as like when certain gym leaders in other games help you fend off like that game's team.
Yeah. And being a pretty blonde lady doesn't make me want to forgive all that, sorry. I mean, what?
Well, she does have a good character design, just on a general level. But
It's fine. I don't remember Cyrus being too tough in this.
No, if anything, the whatever Edmund that has the Perugly is harder.
that animation for Gyarados is the laziest fucking thing. It's like, it just like stretches his sprite like a rubber band and re-angles it.
Hey, at the time, people are happy that the sprites were moving again at all. So,
In some aspects, I think Pokemon fans like just accept too little, as if.
Oh no, they definitely do. Like, I mean, I don't think that the series doesn't need to be like, a lot of people were talking about how Pokemon should be like Breath of the Wild styled, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't need to go that far, but
No, it doesn't.
I definitely feel like people are a little bit accepting of
Yeah,
how
they're
safe
the general
Pokemon
fan base
plays.
is a little too forgiving of
You
it of the franchise in general being kind of behind the times in a lot of things.
because Mario, a lot of Mario stuff is kind of similar, but after a while, even Mario people will, like, I mean, it took a couple of games, but eventually people did get sick of Mario kind of treading the same ground over and over and demanded something better, and then we got Odyssey. I hope that's
in Mario's case. It's a little weird. We had Mario 64 and Sunshine, which were these wide open, explorative adventure games, and people got disenchanted with that style after Sunshine kind of didn't do it well. And Nintendo being Nintendo, they just backpedaled hard off of the thing that people complained about.
Yeah, but I think the more thing is just the general theming and tone felt so samey for a good 7 or 8 years because they didn't want to try to do, change the setting, that much is the thing. So the games all looked and sounded very
and felt
similar.
exactly the same.
Yeah, like it's more like the new Super Mario Brothers in 3D games in particular, I think. And after a while, people were like, okay, we're kind of tired of all of the games feeling the same. Can we have something different? And then we got something different. In one sense, I'm glad that there's finally this backlash against Pokemon, because maybe that means that Gen 9, whenever that comes
Senior.
out... Oh my god, are you leaving me out here to take a hit so you
problem-
can heal a different Pokemon? Oh my god.
The problem is the backlash against Pokemon is not over how behind the times they are. It's over,
Exactly, yeah.
We're losing Pokemon, which is oh god damn it.
And then he used the full restore.
God damn it, Cyrus. But there's the losing Pokemon thing is something worth criticizing because it limits the game's variety in the immediate, but it also is a step back.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's just like, okay, there's finally a sizable amount of people wanting more, which is a good thing if you're not being an asshole about it. It's just that A, people are asking for the wrong thing, and B, you're being an asshole about it.
But for the
we're
most
not going to
part,
get
we're
anything
not-
constructive done.
For the most part, we're not acknowledging the larger picture, and I don't think people will do that until Sword and Shield are out, and we have a clearer picture of what the entire game is like.
Yeah.
I think when that happens, though, my prediction is the design is probably going to be pretty good. It does look like they're putting work into that aspect, but I think people are going to realize that being so behind the times in terms of like world design and the technical aspect of the game's construction is not quite as forgivable anymore now that we're moving on to what is effectively a console release.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that at the very least, the graphics will be updated some between the E3 build and the release build. I mean, they have to be. They will.
Well, you'd
'cause
like to
happens,
think so,
but-
but
That can happen sometimes. Like in early screenshots and stuff of Sonic Generations, we had this horrible, ugly, like smeared paint version of Sonic's face on the model, and people were all like, no, my model's ugly. They just hadn't finished the model yet. I don't know why they showed it to us in that state, but
So hopefully there are just some work in progress textures and stuff like that that when they're replaced with their final version will, make people stop complaining about that one tree as much, and then we can move on to interesting, more constructive discussions about how well open world design is implemented and whether or not the game needs all 830 million Pokemon or whatnot, as opposed to just being all like, oh my god, there's no nose pass. This is awful.
it's
And
more that Game Freak just keeps cutting and cutting and cutting features
Yeah.
and not replacing them with anything.
Here's the thing. I understand completely why people are upset. I just
hold that thought.
am looking forward to people. I'm looking forward to the game being out and we can actually discuss it in an interesting way, as opposed to.
Hold that thought.
And here we go.
Did Giratina just like use a portable Pokemon Center or something? Did she just pull a pack of full restores out of her ass?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she is the champion, I suppose.
Wait, did you just call Cynthia Giratina?
Apparently.
Giratina? Did I? Oops.